All right. In this video, I'm going to be covering how to replace a fuel tank on this particular trimmer. It's a Husqvarna 128 LD trimmer. Other models probably very similar. I'm replacing it due to fuel leaking from the fuel tank, due to replacing the fuel lines a few times, enlarging holes a little bit, which you shouldn't do, and getting some fuel leaking through. It's becoming a nuisance. So I'm going to go ahead and put a new fuel tank on it. The part I'm putting in there is supposed to be OEM. I'm not quite sure if it is. I paid around $35, $37 for it, but you can find models that are not OEM, just a generic part, some as little as under 20. It does have fuel lines already installed in it, and the fuel filter, which is loose, that you'll have to attach to the fuel line. So let's get to it. So I've already disassembled it. I'm going to cover that though, and I'm going to show reassemble as well. Really, the only thing you're going to need is a T25 Torx driver. If you don't have great hand strength, I do recommend getting a T-handle version, because while most of them are kind of very easy to take off, there are two of the T25 Torx that are actually quite tight. So basically, you're going to want to remove your muffler system here. You have three that they'll actually stay in put, 325, so take your muffler cover off your side. Then you'll have your rear cover. You have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 total. These 4 up top are all the same size. I'll show them to you. You have this one little guy here. He's a stubby. I'll show him. Then you have these 2 deep down in here. These are really what are holding on your starter assembly. And these 2 deep down in there, they are the ones that are actually quite tight. So let me show you the different nuts. So your 4 that are supposed to be in your corners, I only had 3. I think 1 vibrated loose. They're like that. They're all the same size. They're that length right there. Your little stubby I mentioned, that's him. Once again, I'll show this during reassembly, of course. There's your little stubby guy. And your 2 that are hard to take out, they actually have a different design, and they're threaded all the way. Just like that. All right, so what you're going to want to do after you've taken your cover off, your fuel tank is going to be flopped around. Now, depending on the model you'll have, yours may or may not have came with these rubber stoppers. Mine did come with the rubber stoppers. If not, we're going to go ahead and remove those, because you'll have to reuse them. A lot of your cheaper fuel tanks don't come with those. You got your 2 fuel lines here. So you're just gonna pull these off. Once again, you don't need these fuel lines anymore, because it comes with replacement fuel lines already in the tank installed. So you can just take a small screwdriver, or honestly, let's just get aggressive with some pliers here, as we're not reusing these fuel lines. And that is your old fuel tank. Well, you can kind of see that hole's so large it actually fell through, but that's where it's leaking from. Don't enlarge your hole. So this is 10 years old. Old one cap. We don't need this anymore. Like I said, make sure you got the rubber guys. If your tank doesn't have that, we no longer need any of this junk. It's crap. We don't need those black plugs. I'll clean those up later. So let's move into installing your new trimmer tank. So like I said, this is our tank. I'll show you. I got the little black pieces in the bag here. So we'll place them on the tank, and these are tighter than the ones because they're new. They haven't been, gone through all these heat cycles, vibrated on the tank and stuff. So we got our nice little rubber dampers on there, spin vibration. Now you notice, I'm gonna take your fuel cap out. So you'll notice you have 2 fuel lines, right? You have 2 fuel lines. Tank is sitting on a tank like this. The one that's closest to you, this is your, what I call return. This is for your plunger that is pushing that fuel back in the tank as you're pushing the plunger. And I noticed they put a little black mark on it. Now, they may not be saying, because maybe you're buying a generic tank and they've done it differently, but you can just reach your hand in there and feel it. This is your exit. This is what your fuel filter is actually attached to. and you got your fuel line down in there, you're going to shake your tank. See if they've attached the fuel filter. Most of these, the fuel filters are attached or loose, or they're in the bag. So you'll need to kind of dump that thing back, maybe take yourself some pliers, grab that fuel line gently, and just attach that fuel filter, which just pushes on. I mean, you can put a little lubrication on the tip of it if you want, but it just pushes on. So there's your tank. So what we're going to do is we're going to install this. I will install this line first because it's going to be easier. This is going to go to the line on the carburetor that's closest to the front of the trimmer. It kind of makes sense. The fuel lines kind of line up where they need to go. So this one's going to go to the front, and this one's going to go to the back of the trimmer. So I'm going to try to show y'all best I can here, because we're not taking the carburetor off. There's no need to take the carburetor off to do this. You know, see, you got those two fuel lines. The one that's a little bit longer, that's toward the front. This is the front fuel tank line. This is the one that has the fuel filter attached. This is where the carburetor is getting the fuel. This is your return when you're hitting that plunger fuel squirt side of here. That's the one that has that little black tip marker on it, okay? So what we're going to do is simply take this fuel tank, and that's where one of your plungers goes, by the way. Not your plunger, but your little damper. That's where he's sitting in. And the other two sit behind this little mount. So we'll take our fuel tank, and we're going to try to get these fuel lines on here. Now this is going to be a little finicky to do. We're not going to try to make this video long. So I'm going to get these fuel lines on, and I'll show you the next step. Alright, so I was able to get my fuel lines on. Let me show you with these pliers. I'll have a link in the description for these. These were actually a cheap set. Be gentle. We don't want to damage the fuel line. But you can take your pliers, grab that fuel line, and you can angle them up. There they are like this. So basically take your fuel line, take your pliers, and kind of push up on that line. It's a lot easier. Of course, you're doing a carburetor replacement. This would be a great time to do your fuel tank as well, because if you had this plastic cover off, it would be easier. But our goal here is to minimize taking this thing apart. So we'll have our fuel lines on, and then we're going to get this thing reassembled. All right, so let's get it reassembled. We want to make sure our plungers are on, our little dampers, not plungers. We're going to take our fuel tank. We're going to set that one to that base that I showed you. Now it's new, so we're going to take that, and then, oh, this is kind of nasty, but this is where your other two rubber dampers are hitting. These are basically to help secure the tank, but they're also there for vibration. And we're just going to want to try to push that together. You may have to move the tank around a little bit. Tank around a little bit to get those plungers in there. So we're basically going to have to wait till we get everything tightened down, and everything should seat nicely. So I would recommend starting with your ones on your corners. Like I said, I only have 3 because my 4th one is gone, and there it is, my ADHD. I'm losing stuff. We'll take our socket here, our little T25, and we're going to lightly get all the corners in. Not tightened down yet. This one was the one that was missing in the upper right hand corner. So I'm going to keep that the same and really focus on these bottom ones, because that's where you're going to have to kind of force, not necessarily force it in, but you got to seat this thing against those little rubber stops. Like I said, they're brand new. They're a little more bouncy, a little more firm than the old ones, which are kind of dry and they kind of shrink, which is what rubber does, especially around gasoline. So we got those lightly tightened, those 3, 1, 2, 3 in the corners, and everything's gone together really well. Let's go ahead and get our little stub in for our mount. Remember, our little stubby guy goes in this one that sticks far out. I'm just going to keep that loose. These ones we can go ahead and snug down. These are your ones that are going deep down in there. This is really what's attaching your starter to the actual engine block, which is probably why they were so much tighter. And of course, they're fully threaded too, not partially threaded. Of course, you can use a driver if you have one that has a very long tip on it. Alright, so I said, now we can get our exhaust one on. It's got, remember, we got our 3, 1, 2, 3. Go on the cover here. This would be a good time too to clean out your exhaust string if you have one. If you haven't cleaned that before, there's a little string you can take your muffler cap off, your little screws. There's a little string that can be in there that helps prevent like sparks coming out and setting things on fire. I think it's required by like California. Started requiring that. I think I may have cleaned this one before. Actually, it gotten damaged and I had to remove it. So set your muffler assembly on. Get everything lightly together. That way we can make the final adjustments. Versus if you tighten everything down, you may have to realize you can't get a hole threaded and you got to take it apart. And that's just a pain to do. Like we're having with this exhaust right here. The other two have gone in nicely. There it goes. Have to get it settled down. There we go. So we'll go ahead and tighten our exhaust down. Cover, not the actual exhaust. We're going to tighten everything else down. Once again, I'm missing that corner. Nice and snug. Our bottom piece is here. Our stubby guy. Our actual starter bolts. This one, go ahead and crank that one down. Obviously, you don't want that being loose. Because it may slip on the starter. Alright, got your little fuel cap guy. So what we're going to do, we're going to want to make sure everything works, right? No leaks. We plunge the air out of the system. So take our gas here mixed with our oil. I need to put a vent hole in this stupid thing. I'm going to fill it up all the way. Because obviously one of the reasons why we did this was because I was leaking fuel. Especially when I was using the trimmer like as an edger. Make sure we put our little prongs back in there. Thread on the cap. Take our plunger, plunge it 10 times. Actually, I didn't get anything to like number 10, so I'm gonna give it a couple more. So we got, I mean, it makes sense. New fuel filter, new fuel lines, you got to push all that air out. I had my little end disconnected here to make it help stay on this table for this video. So put that on, and if everything goes well, this we'll put her on full choke here. Well, as you can see, it runs. It does need a carburetor adjustment. That is for certain. Steve, small engine saloon, the guy's based in Canada, has the absolute best videos on how to tune 2-stroke motors, 4-stroke engines, or anything like that. So I'll leave it to him. He's got a great video out there. Steve's Small Engine Saloon is a base, I think is what it's called. Guy loves drinking beer while he works on things. He's got some great videos on how to tune engines better than I could ever do. So I'm going to tune this one, but we got our new fuel tank on. We're not leaking fuel. I can use it as an edger now and not have fuel leaking everywhere. I've been dealing with this for a hot minute, man. I mean, really, I should have done it a lot sooner. Definitely going to be nice not having fuel leak everywhere, which also means I won't have to put as much fuel in it. And it's just if you're having this issue, just fix it. It's stupid to deal with it. But anyway, I hope this helps someone. Until next time, I hope you'll have a good day.